Hello Flosstube, this is Brandy with Mama Indica Crafts. Welcome to my channel, or if you're returning, welcome back. Thank you for joining me today. It's Monday, February 26, 2024. I'm already ready for March's WIPGO. This is Flosstube number 3. This is the second time I filmed this video. I filmed yesterday, but when I was editing, I realized there was some background noise that I just couldn't edit around, so I'm back at it. So if I feel a little disjointed, I apologize. It's given me a little deja vu. Little bit about me and my channel. Like I said, my name's Brandy. I'm 39 years old. I live in Colorado Springs with my fiance John, my son Lennon, my 2 dogs, and my 2 cats. I love them all very much, but they do tend to be a little bit noisy, so you might hear them in the background from time to time. My apologies, it's just unavoidable. As far as my crafting journey, I've been crafting basically my whole life. The first crafting I remember doing was making paper doll clothes and clothes for my Barbies when I was about 4 to 5 years old. I found cross stitch when I was around 11. I did a few projects when I was an adolescent, early teen, and then when I had my son, I stopped for a while. You know, work and school and life got in the way. I rediscovered it back in 2017 or so. I came across a pattern, and we'll get to that pattern because it's still part of my whip pile, that when I saw it, I knew I had to make it for my son. And that's what started me on the cross-stitch journey again. And I was a monogamous stitcher for a few years, and finally branched out in about 2022. Started working on multiple projects, and now I would be perfectly happy if I could stitch all of the projects all of the time. I probably should tone it down a little bit, if only because we have limited space here. But I figured this will be a space for me to share all of my crafts, although in my Flosstube videos it will just be the cross stitch. So today it'll just be cross stitch. I may also share some of my son's crafting projects here and there, some life updates, who knows. But for today, we're going to go over what I did in February. So I have a finish, some whips, and a couple of new starts. I'd also like to go over my plans for March, since WIPGO got called yesterday. I know which projects I'm going to be working on. I don't have a lot of haul, and I'm still waiting for the mail to arrive to actually get some of my haul. But those are going to be going into my new starts for March, which we'll go over with our plans there. So I figure we will start with my finish for February. This project, and you'll notice a lot of my projects I work for my son. He likes my work, and I like making things for him. So one of his nicknames is Lennon the Lemon. If it has lemons on it, he's going to notice it, and he likes it, and he loves gnomes. So when I saw this chart on Etsy from Kits by S.A. Stitch, I thought it was perfect for him. So this is lemon gnomes. Technically, there are supposed to be 5, but I didn't measure my fabric very well. I did not do a very good job of measuring fabric when I first started stitching, which is another story I'll get to with a different project, but it was a habit. I've gotten much better about it. So if I can get a good image of it without a reflection from the ring light, that is what, well, no, the ring light's going to be in there. That is what it was going to look like. Does not want to focus. Either way, I had to cut off the little gnome girl on the end. But I don't think it's going to be noticeable to anyone, ever. I just have to get that washed, ironed, and framed up to put on Lennon's wall. So that's my finish for February. And that was one of the WIPGO calls for February, was my lemon gnomes. So moving into just the projects that I worked on, I break my projects up into 3 groups, well, 4 groups. The first group is year-round, so these are the projects that I work all year round. They never leave my workstation. Um, they're always on the go. Then I have quarterly projects, which I change out every 3 months. I have one full coverage quarterly project that I change every 3 months. And right now I have a Rainbow Bright project that I'm trying to finish one every 3 months. And then I have my WIPGO calls that I change monthly. And of course, new starts, because there have to be new starts. I can't just not start new projects. That's crazy. So my first category I'm going to work with is my year-round projects. And there are only 2 in that category. So the first one is that project that I said I'm still working on from 2017, just not in this version. So I started this project back in 2017 for my son, and partially for me, but mostly for Lennon. But I ended up, it's a large full coverage. I got 3 or 4 pages in, I can't remember. I got pretty far, and I realized I had mismeasured my fabric and it wasn't going to fit. So I had to go in and restart it. I restarted in December of 2022. So that's the project that I'm about to show you. It is the main map for Super Mario World, which was my first video game. It was Lennon's first video game. And he is the biggest Mario fan you will ever meet. He is on the spectrum, and Mario is one of his special interests. He has just always obsessed over Mario. Which of all the things he could be obsessed with, I'm glad it's that. So this is the map, what it's going to look like when it's done. And again, apologies for the ring light. I have to figure out how to avoid that reflection. Now, I'm not going to take this out of the Q-snap because everything I worked on this month is contained within it. I will be moving it after today, though, because I filled up the Q-snap. This is where I am currently. My goal was to finish the Forest of Illusion and all those trees, and that's what I did. I started the month at 19,001 stitches. My goal was to get up to 22,500 stitches, and I got up to 22,788. So I did 3,787 stitches, and I met my goal for this project. Also, my phone ate my progress pictures from the end of January, beginning of February. So I only have pictures from a few of my projects from where I started the month. If I have pictures for them, I will pop them up on the screen to show where I was at the beginning of February. But most of them are not going to have pictures. Like I said, my phone ate them, sadly. But if you want to see where I was, you can always go back to my last video or my WIP Parade, my first video. So that's the Mario map. Let me set that over on this side, actually. Projected to get that one finished sometime in probably 2028 at the pace that I'm working. If I dedicated myself just to it, I'm sure I could have it done in a year or 2, but I'm not a monogamous stitcher anymore. I have to have variety. It just keeps things fresh. That pattern I got from Boxcat Shop on Etsy, although there is a free pattern floating around of the Super Mario World map, and that is the one I started on originally, but it has little waves in the water, and I just didn't want to stitch them again. So I bought this pattern. Like I said, Boxcat Shop on Etsy. Oh, also want to show you the cute little needle minder. It's Six Sad World from Daria, and that is from Grandma Girl Designs on Etsy. She has the cutest pop culture needle minders. I just love them. So that's my first year-round project that I work on all the time. My second year-round project is my temperature stitch along for the year. And this year I'm doing a moon phase temperature stitch along by Climbing Goat Designs. And I absolutely love this pattern. When I found it, I was just very impressed at the work that went into it. They charted a different pattern for basically every time zone on the planet. Based on, because the moon phases on the pattern are based on where you are. So I'm using mountain time in the United States for mine, for the moon phases. But no matter where you live, you can match it to your area, which I think is just awesome. But each day has a moon, and the illuminated portion is the high temperature for the day, and the shadowed portion is the low temperature for the day. This is where I'm at. And I will pop up a picture of the mock-up that they have. Obviously, mine's going to look a lot different because my temperatures are different. It's a different part of the world. Moon phases are different. All of that. But to give you a basic idea, I'm working mine. This is a 16 count Ada. This is Envy by Witches Gardens Crafts on Etsy. And I just adore this color. And this needle minder is also from Grandma Girl Designs. But the fabric is beautiful to work on. I think it's just going to be fabulous when it's done. Now, I will admit I did not meet my goal on that one this month. My goal was to get through February 20th, and I only made it through January 30th. Well, halfway through January 30th. I just got so preoccupied with finishing Lemon Gnomes and my new starts that I got going that I kind of didn't focus on this one as much as I should, but it's still really doable to catch up within the next month or so. So I will be trying to catch up in the next month, but I still love working on it, and I think it's going to be so beautiful on my wall when it's done. So that's my second year-round project that I work on. That brings us to quarterly. So for my first quarterly project is my full coverage. This project I'm working for my fiance. He grew up with Pokemon. That was one of his big interest things that he really enjoyed when he was a young boy. And he still loves Pokemon. So when I saw Epic Pokemon from Lord Libidin, I decided I had to stitch it for him. This is Generation 1. Now, I had started with the original pattern from Lord Libidin, but then I read that some of the colors were a little bit off, especially some of the pinks. And I found out that there was a color-corrected version in the files of a Facebook group for Pokemon Stitchers. So I joined the Facebook group and got the color-corrected version. It has over 200 colors in it, and it's turning out just great. Since I wasn't too far with the original one, I restarted it on a 25 count Easy Grid Lugana, which made it so much easier. I'm doing this 2/1 tent stitch in DMC, and I'm going to pop up a picture of what it's going to look like when it's done. My background color, however, is a dark purple. I did change the background from the original. And this is where I'm at. And actually, I am going to show you, no, that's not what I wanted. I'm going to show you on my tablet the mock-up, because I just realized I don't have a picture of this version. I only have a picture of the Lord Libidin version. But this is the mock-up of the color corrected. And as you can see, it has all of the Pokemon from Generation 1. And they have the background as split red and blue for first gen Pokemon. But I wanted to do a solid color. And like I said, I went with a dark purple, and I think everything is popping out from that dark purple really nicely. I'm liking how that's turning out. So I started the month on that one. with 5,039 stitches. I wanted to get up to 8,000, but I only got up to 5,947. So instead of doing almost 3,000 stitches, I did just under 1,000. I'm okay with that though. Stay. I will set my goal a little bit lower, I think, for March on that project, just because I've been focusing a lot on some other types of projects rather than the full coverage tent stitch, which I enjoy working on, but it just hasn't called to me that much this month. My second quarterly project that I'm working on is Rainbow Bright. Now, I found this book on eBay last year. It is from Gloria and Pat Designs. It's called Color the World with Love, and it's all Rainbow Bright patterns. It's got all of the color kids, all of the sprites, and I want to do all of them for my bathroom. I also found this really cool Rainbow Bright shower curtain, and that's what started the whole obsession. I mean, I've been obsessed with Rainbow Bright since the 80s, but when I saw the shower curtain, I'm like, okay, I have to stitch these and decorate my bathroom. So, I've finished Canary Yellow already, and if you want to see her, you can pop over to Flosstube number 2, I think is where I show my finish for her. But now I'm working on Rainbow Bright, and I'm not going to take her out of the Q-snap. Like I said, I filmed this video yesterday, and I had everything out of the Q-snap, and then I put everything back in and realized I had to refilm. But you can see her, so we're just going to leave her in there. I will pull up a picture of what she's going to look like because I do have a picture of her. And this is where I am. So I'm almost done with her head, and then I've got most of her dress done. My plan is to get her almost complete, if not complete, by the end of March. I'm starting the month with 5,600, or no, she has 5,616 stitches, I'm sorry. I'm starting the month with 1,831 stitches, and I wanted to get up to 3,500. I got up to 3,660. So I did meet my goal on Rainbow Bright. I did 1,829 stitches. She is on a 14 count Ada. This is Demoiselle from Picture This Plus. And my camera does not do it justice. It has pinks and blues and greens, and it's just perfect for Rainbow Bright. I'm also not using the called for DMC. I decided to be a little bit extra with this one, and I converted everything to Classic Colorworks. So I'm just loving these bright colors. I hadn't worked with fancy floss before, and I decided I wanted to, so I converted her. And I'll probably be doing Twink in the Classic Colorworks as well, but everything, all the rest of the color kids and sprites are going to be DMC, just like Canary Yellow. The only thing I worry about, because I've never worked with the Classic Colorworks, and I know it's not color fast, so I wonder about washing it, or even, like, I'm concerned with ironing it if there's any steam. But I guess we'll see when I'm done how that turns out. I may not need to wash it. I'm trying my best to keep it nice and clean, with the fabric around the edge of my Q-snap, and just so I don't touch it too much. But I met my goal on that one, so I'm a happy camper there. And then we go into my WIPGO calls for February. The first one you already saw, that was Lemon Gnomes. I got that finished, and that was my goal, so I met my goal there. And that one, where am I? There I am. That one I put in about 2,400 stitches for the month. The other WIPGO call ended up being a UFO. And I will pop up, if I have it, I will pop up a picture of what it looked like last month, or the last time I took a picture of it. I decided to UFO it because I wasn't loving it. I wasn't loving working on it. And originally I wanted to do it as a gift for my mom, but I don't think it was really her vibe. So I gave up, and I would show it to you, and I did when I filmed yesterday, but then I threw it away, and so now it's gone. So I can't show it. Yeah, that I did not meet my goal on, unless you count deciding what to do with it as meeting my goal, which I kind of do. I do a third WIPGO call. I use a random number generator to pull a third project off of my WIPGO list every month. My third project that I pulled for WIPGO was Rainbow Cat by Cross Stitch TR on Etsy. That one also, I will pop up a picture of. I guess I can show you what it was going to look like. This is what it was going to look like. And I got some of the top left corner down into his eyeball done. And it was before I found pre-gridded fabric. And I wasn't enjoying working on it anymore. I didn't really care for the color palette anymore. I started it in December of 2022. I believe it was the first project that I started as a non-monogamous stitcher. And my tastes have just changed since then. So that one went in the trash with the first one, the lavender piece. And like I said, I'll pop up pictures of those two, along with information about the designer. But I gave up on those. Those are no longer in my WIP pile. My new starts, though, that's where I spent a lot of my time this month. I really enjoyed doing those. So my first new start that I did for the month of February is by Blackbird Designs. And before this, I hadn't really delved much into more traditional designers. I had mostly looked at Etsy, and, I'd gotten the Rainbow Bright book, but I viewed most of the designs as like just really old-fashioned samplers and flowers and dimensions kits, and I hadn't really seen any traditional style patterns that called to me until I saw this one. And to me, it's traditional with a twist. It has more of that traditional style, but I love the subject matter. So my son's name is Lennon, so you can guess that we are Beatles fans here. And this is the first pattern that I saw that was part of the Magical Mystery Tour series, but it's actually number 5. It is Yellow Submarine. And like I said, when I saw this, I had to jump on it. I'm like, this is perfect. Like, this is the perfect foray into fancy flosses and, paper charts and all of that. So I got all of the called for flosses. They're all gentle arts. The color palette is just beautiful. I started it on January 29th, and I consider my month starting on the 26th because WIPGO gets called on the 25th. So I do consider this a start for February, even though technically it started January 29th. And I had set my goal for it at 1,000 stitches, but I went above and beyond that because I was just enjoying it so much. That's where we are with that. And I just love it. Now this is a 28 count Lugana in Mystical Seas by Needlework with Jim on Etsy. And I love his fabrics. He has some beautiful fabrics. Great customer service too. And I got up to 2,518 stitches. So I over doubled my goal on that one. But it was just so much fun to work on, and I love the colors. It's just coming together so pretty. And I already have Octopus Garden ready to go as soon as I finish this one. And I believe I will be doing Strawberry Fields Forever as well, if not all of them. The second new start that I did for the month of February, gotta make sure those go back in there. The second new start I did for the month of February is a sampler that I believe I'm going to be giving my mom. This is by Lindy Stitches. And I found this pattern on Etsy, but then I found so many other patterns by Lindy Stitches that I need to stitch. But this one made me chuckle, and I had to stitch it for my mom. We love Golden Girls. It's one of the first shows that I think we had in common that we both really enjoyed. And I'm pretty sure Betty White is both of our favorites. Rose Nyland is just such a great character. She's so funny. I mean, although all the women on that show are just insanely funny. But Rose's stories about St. Olaf and her dumb questions were the highlight of the show to me and my mom. So when I saw this chart, like I said, I jumped on it. Not only is it hilarious, but the pattern itself is just beautiful. And it's called the Walk Fast Sampler. And let me see if I can get it up there without a glare. It says, it's like that old Scandinavian saying, you can lead a herring to water, but you have to walk fast or he'll die. And this one, I'm working on a 32 count Lugana in Sahara Dust, also from Needlework with Jim on Etsy. And this is where we're at with it. And my goal on it was also 1,000 stitches, and I got to 2,176. So I got a little more than my goal. And this one also has just such a beautiful color palette. I love these corally pinks and this beautiful deep teal. It's just so pretty. And this is my first time working over 2 on a 32 count. I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to see it very well, but I haven't really had a problem with it. So I'm really enjoying that one. And like I said, those two, I was enjoying stitching on those two projects so much this month that I didn't get as much work done on a couple of my other projects as I wanted to. But hey, the work got done, just maybe not necessarily where I planned it. So that's everything that I worked on for the month of February. That brings us into March and my plans for March. So this time we'll start with what was called for WIPGO, and then we'll move into quarterly, year-round, and new starts. So for WIPGO, she called number 1 and number 10. So for me, number 1, and like I said, these are in Q snaps because reasons. Because I filmed yesterday and had them all out, and then I put them all in their Q snaps for the month, and I don't really want to take them out again. Now where has my pattern gone? Sorry. So this pattern is by Cute Patterns by Maria on Etsy. There we go. It's called Halloween Set Trick or Treat. This is my first WIPGO call. Now I started at 1274, but right now I'm at 1500 because I did a couple hundred stitches yesterday and this morning before I realized I was going to have to refilm. So right now I'm at 1500. It is on a 20 count lilac Lugana. It's 2/1 full cross DMC. And that's where I'm at currently. My goal is to get to 2,500 stitches. So 1,000 more stitches for the month, and I'll meet my goal on this one. And this one I started in March of 2023. So that is that one. And I love Halloween. It's probably mine and my son's favorite holiday. We just like the spooky vibes and dressing up. And I love baking. And so that chart was just perfect for me. The second WIPGO call is actually a pattern that I drafted myself from an image I found on Google. And the artist, what was her name? I had just looked it up. I couldn't find it before, but I had just found it again this morning. The artist's name is, where is it? Athena Mackenzie. Athena Mackenzie is the artist's name. And I do want to say, I live in Colorado and my name is Mama Indica. So I hope that you are not offended by certain things. If you are, look away. This is my rainbow leaf. And like I said, it's based on artwork by Athena Mackenzie. And I drafted the pattern using Windstitch, I believe. It is 17, little under 18,000 stitches. I started it in February of 2023. I'm starting the month at 13,999 stitches. My goal is to get to 15,800. So I want to get 1,800 stitches done. This is where I am. And once again, I'm not popping it out of the Q-snap. But if you want to see the full picture, it is on my WIP parade. But all of these leaves are complete on this side. I just have this side left to do. This is on a 20 count Lugana, 3/2 tent stitch in DMC. I am really liking how this is turning out. I haven't decided if I'm framing this to keep for myself or if it's going to be a gift for my favorite bud tender. But I'll figure that out when the time comes. My bonus call, because like I said, I like to pull a third WIP for WIPGO, so I use a random number generator. My third number that I used the random number generator for was number 9. And for me, that is my Love My Dog Quaker by Romy's Creations. Now, I did make some changes to the colors on this pattern. Really, I loved this pattern, but I picked this pattern specifically for these colors. I went on Be Stitch Me and I decided I wanted to try working with silks. So I picked a color palette of 5 colors and a piece of fabric that I really liked. And then I found the pattern to go with them. And that brought me to this pattern. It was very easy to adjust the colors for my own preferences. So my Lisa Frank palette worked great. The fabric is a 16 count Aida. It's Nightshade by Be Stitch Me. And I'm doing 2/1 full cross in Be Stitch Me silks. And I'll pull up This is a mock-up of what it's going to look like with my color palette. Or close to what it's going to look like with my color palette. And this is where I am. And I just love these colors. Maybe it's the 90s kid in me, but this color palette just brings me joy. And these silks are so soft. I now understand what the hype is about working with silks. They are a joy to stitch with. I'm starting this one at 1,454 stitches, which means I'm exactly 50% done. And my goal is to finish it this month. I started it January 19th, so I think that finishing this in the month of March is completely doable. Now, Romy's Creations also makes a Love My Cat Quaker, which I'm going to be doing once I finish this one. Also on my list of new starts for the year. So that's it for my WIPGO goals for March. For my year-round projects for the month of March, for my Super Mario World map, and I'll pull it back over. I want to get this up to 25,500 stitches. So I would like to get 2,712 stitches done on this in March, which will get me almost done with all of the black, which is awesome. I'm hoping to be done with all of the outline on this project by the end of April. So wish me luck, fingers crossed that we'll get that done. Because I can't remember if I said this or not, but this project is 504 stitches by 504 stitches. It's going to be almost 3 feet squared. So it's going to be a big boy. Now for my other year-round project, my moon phase stitch along, I don't intend to get completely caught up to the end of March, by the end of March, but I would like to get up to March 10th. So I want to finish January 30th and 31st, get all of February done, and then get through March 10th. That is my goal for March on this one. Will I get it done? Who knows? We'll see. I love this fabric, but to be honest, with the lighting in my apartment, sometimes it's hard to see. So I can really only work on this a couple hours of the day because that's the only time I can really see it well enough. I suppose I could buy a light or a magnifier, and I might. But for now, that's where we're at. Quarterly projects. For my Pokemon, I would like to take it from 6,000 stitches, because we're right at 6,000. I would like to get it up to 7,500. So we want to get about 1,500 stitches on this one. Which should get us, I would wager a guess of 2 to 3 more Pokemon completed at that pace. Sorry, I'm running out of room over here. And then for Rainbow Bright, which she's buried, and I'm not going to pull her back out, I want to get up to 5,000 stitches. So I want to get about 1,350 stitches on her, which will bring her to almost complete. Now, if I can get her done this month, that's even better. But I just wanted to set my goal as something more attainable. And then I got a couple of new starts planned for this month. I don't have the physical charts with me yet because they're supposed to be here in the mail. They're supposed to be here in the mail soon. But the first new start that I have planned is going to be Coffee Drinker's Confession by Heartstring Samplery. It says, I don't have a problem with coffee. I have a problem without coffee. And if anyone knows me, they know that that's the truth. And I'm going to be doing that with all the called for flosses on a fabric that's by Needlework with Jim. Also should be arriving here today or tomorrow. The other new project that I will be starting this month is A Year in the Woods #4 by Cottage Garden Samplings. And this is the raccoon. And I think she's just so pretty. And that also, I'm going to do the called for flosses on a fabric by Needlework with Jim. And I'm really excited to get those going. I have goals of 1,500 for each of my new starts, but I have a feeling I'm going to get carried away and go above and beyond that. Because I tend to, especially with new starts that I really, really like the charts for. So that is pretty much everything for February and my plans for March. Like I said, I do intend to do 24 for 24 this year. So if I can get 2 new starts in every month, then I will hit my goal of 24 new starts for 24. And I'm right on track to get that done. I also want to get at least 1 finish done a month. I got Lemon Gnomes for February. I'm shooting for Love My Dog Quaker for March. I might even get Rainbow Bright done in March as well. We'll see. But so far we're on track for our goals for the most part, except for the moons. I got to catch up there. But yeah, that's about all I've got today. Thank you so much for joining me. If you are still here, thanks for sticking around. If you'd like to see where I progress to next month, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, and we'll catch up next month. Thank you. Bye-bye.